The story of Grace was left off where I was at work, didn't feel good, and I decided not to go to the doctor that night because I had a doctor's appointment this morning. So I went home, went to bed, got up, and no. Oh, that's the night I took him to the emergency room. Yeah. I didn't feel good, but I took him to the emergency room. He was thrown up. Got to the emergency room, and he actually had an ulcer that they gave him a bunch of medicine and told him if he didn't stay in bed that it could erupt. So I got up the next morning, went to my doctor's office. He stayed at home. Normally he goes to every doctor's appointment, but he didn't go this time. So I got there. My blood pressure was up. They did the exam, and I was a little over a centimeter dilated. So they had me on the monitor in the back, and I didn't have my phone on me. And at that time, we only had one cell phone. So I had to call my grandmother, and the nurse there let me use her cell phone to call my grandmother. Well, she misunderstood because I told her to go by the house, pick up my husband, bring her to the doctor's office. Well, she got there and told him that he needed to get up and get dressed, that he had a doctor's appointment. It wasn't him. So they finally got their information correct and showed up to the doctor's office. Well, he got there, and they told me that we were going to go over to Cobb for emergency cerclage, so we could keep Grace in, and so she wouldn't be born early. So get up to the hospital. They do the surgery. Then I'm on bed rest for the rest of the pregnancy. And we officially began baby watch. Every day we could keep her in was even better. So day by day by day by day, it was on pins and needles. Am I going to go into labor? Is my blood pressure going to shoot up? Whatever. Then I started having severe pains and went to Villarica ER. And they told me that I was going into preterm labor. That they kept me in for, a day, 2 days, something like that. Sent me home, told me it was false, that I wasn't going into labor, to go follow up with my daughter. Got to the doctor's office. Come to find out, my pelvis was separating and rubbing together. So every time I moved or she moved, because she was so low, she stayed head down the whole pregnancy. And I was carrying her very, very low. Which caused my pelvis to separate and rub together, the two bones rubbing together. So, on top of having to stay in the bed, I had my pelvis was separating. So I was in horrendous pain for pretty much most of the pregnancy. Then we ended up going to Villarica again, thinking I was in preterm labor. Well, they said yes, I was in preterm labor, but I wasn't dilated, which I'm not going to dilate because I had this cerclage done, and I kept trying to tell them that. They said that everything looked fine to them. They sent me home. Ended up calling my high-risk doctor. He ended up to advise me if I couldn't handle it, to go up to Cobb. So went up to Cobb, got checked in. No, sorry, did not. I lied. Came into the doctor's office. Sorry. Then that morning my blood pressure skyrocketed, like 200 and something. And he looked at me and said that we were going to go straight to Cobb Hospital. He was going to admit me, that he believed I had preeclampsia. So I get admitted, and this is 8 days before she was born. So I was in the hospital for 8 days with them monitoring my blood pressure, and every day they come in. We're going to take her today. And about an hour or two later, no, we changed our mind. We're going to keep her in for a few more days. A few more days. Every day was a few more days. But I was on a 24/7 monitoring my blood pressure, her blood pressure, because every time mine would go up, her heart rate would go down. And finally, see, April 1st, I thought they were pulling a good one on me. They come in and said we were just going to go to have a C-section. They were going to take her today. And I was like, please, just don't let my child be born on April 1st. April Fool's Day, do not let her be born on April Fool's Day. So the doctor decided, wait and see, because they gave me another dose of my blood pressure medicine. My blood pressure did come down a little bit, but as soon as the medicine wore off, it went straight back up. So on April 3rd, the doctor decided, okay, we've had enough. She's going to be born. So I panicked. Okay, at this point, she is 6 weeks early. I had nothing for my child to wear. I called my cousin that Grace now calls Gigi. I panicked, and the only thing I could think was, I don't have anything for her to wear. Everything I have is newborn size. And no diapers. I don't know why I was worried about diapers. I guess I thought the hospital wasn't going to supply them. But she come out with preemie diapers, preemie clothes, and because they told me Grace was weighing in at 4 pounds, 6 ounces. So everybody gets to the hospital. My mom, my grandmother, Tim, Carla, Aaron. I think that was all. And my brother shows up, I think, after she was born. I can't remember. He got there before or after. But they gave me all the good, feel-good medicine and took me up to C-section. And the worst part of the C-section is before the C-section, is getting the epidural. It was horrible. And at that point, they don't let Daddy in before the epidural. So they didn't let him in until after they got the epidural in. And I was laid down, strapped down. They strapped your arms down. It's horrible. Raised the sheet, so he comes walking. Couldn't hardly recognize him. He had the face mask on and the hair on his hairnet and this blue scrubs and the little footy things. I had to look real close to make sure it was him. He comes in and sits down. And he's only allowed to be right at my face and hold my hand. That was it. And they asked him, once they pulled Grace out, they asked him if he wanted to see them pull her. If he wanted to see them pull her out. He refused. He didn't want to see that. So they got Grace. Sorry. They got Grace out and told me she was a girl. Took her over to the little weigh-in table, checked her out, and kept hearing her cry. I kept asking if she was okay. Then they get her wrapped up and bring her over to me, and I got my first little kiss. And then my husband left with her to take her up to the NICU. Well, I get into recovery. I'm in there by myself. He's not there. My baby's been whisked away to the NICU. And all I want to know is where he's at. I kept asking, where's he at? So he finally walks in. I'm jealous. He got to spend most of the time, because the whole time he was up there in the NICU, getting her checked in and seeing her. Well, I get out of the recovery and into my room, and they inform me that, they informed me that they're taking her to Cobb, Kennestone, sorry. I was at Cobb. And because they didn't have room in the NICU. So I was stuck in Kennestone Hospital. Cobb Hospital. She was took to Kennestone Hospital. And he was torn between 2 hospitals. He would come up, see me, and then he'd go stay with Grace. One good thing is Kennestone does have the little webcam thing, so you get to watch them, but it's not the same. So I was able to watch that. I didn't sleep at all. The food was horrible. Oh yeah, on the way from delivery, up to the NICU, I was informed at a later time, after we done got Grace home, that she had stopped breathing on the way up to the NICU, before they even got her in the elevator. So they got her back breathing. She had her little suction tube down her throat, and